CreepyCorner stories.
Hey everyone, welcome back to CreepyCorner stories. You know, diving into the dark web is always risky, but sharing these stories with you makes it worth it. I'm curious, where are you watching this from right now? Let me know in the comments below. I've noticed that these kinds of stories hit differently depending on where you are. It might even make the experience a little creepier. So, tell me, are you watching from the safety of your home or somewhere less secure? I am the famous Tik Toker Kilmaru that lives in different dimension. I will tell you my real story, how to enter a different dimension. You just need to search for the right instructions I will show you on the dark web. Alright, so before I say anything, let me be super clear. Don't try this. I'm not telling this story to inspire you or make you curious. I'm telling it because I already messed up, and I need someone, anyone, to know what happened in case I vanish for good. Some of you might know me from TikTok. Username @Kilmaru. If you don't, cool. That's probably for the better. I had like 3.8 million followers. My content? Kinda weird, yeah. Glitchy videos, surreal humor, backrooms, aesthetics, analog horror skits. You know the type. Nothing too deep, but I always hinted at something real behind it all. People thought it was just branding. It wasn't. So here's how this started. It was a regular Tuesday. Dead-ass boring. I was at this Starbucks on Sunset Boulevard in LA, trying to come up with content. I had my headphones in, scrolling through subreddits and drinking an iced matcha I didn't even want. Everything felt stale. Everyone on TikTok was copying each other, doing the same liminal space edits with the same creepy music. That's when I got this DM on Instagram from a burner account at digitalskin.x. No profile picture, no posts. It just said, "You're close, but you're not there yet. If you want to be real, go find the key on the net. Look where they don't want you." And under that, a link. Now listen, I'm not stupid. I've seen the creepypastas, the ARGs, the r/no sleep stories. This had that energy. I assumed it was a fan trying to drag me into some gimmicky rabbit hole. But the thing is, it worked. I clicked the link. It didn't take me to a website. It downloaded a text file to my phone. I opened it. It was just this. The one you seek lies beneath the chrome. Duck to dive. Use keys. /void. Path. /exit. Light. /sleepwatcher. Tornos. The onion remembers. Weird riddle, right? I stared at it for like 10 minutes, thinking it was just a creative promo thing. But something about it felt off. Like it wasn't trying to entertain me. It was trying to warn me or challenge me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the message. I was up watching YouTube. Stuff like, Here's My Story, old Luna videos, and even some weird animated horror channels that were obviously AI generated. Everything kept pointing me back to the idea of something beneath the internet, a hidden world. I finally caved. I downloaded the Tor browser again. I'd used it once in high school to buy fake IDs, and nothing ever came of it. But this time, I was following the riddle. I entered /void path into a directory someone had mentioned on a conspiracy subreddit. A black page loaded. Just one sentence in red courier font. You have not yet chosen to see. Search glass loop on the silent index. I had never heard of the silent index before. I tried Googling it. It doesn't exist on the normal web. It's only accessible via a .onion address I found buried in some shady thread on r/. deep web mysteries. When I found it, it was just this black and gray search engine. No branding, no UI. Felt like a stripped down 2003 website. I typed in glass loop and hit enter. A list of links appeared. Only 3 worked. One was a dead-end forum post. The second was a pixelated image of an eye. The third was a video. A 4-minute clip titled glassloop_17.mp4. I watched it. This is where it gets weird. The video was a shaky recording of a guy walking through what looked like a normal IKEA, except no people, no sound, just that humming ceiling noise and the occasional flickering light. The camera kept zooming in on glass panels, mirrors, windows, anything reflective. Every time it zoomed in, I saw a different reflection than what should have been there. Like, in one shot, there's a mirror. The guy filming isn't even in it. Instead, you see someone else, wearing his clothes, but with a stretched face, like something out of a data mosh nightmare. The mouth was way too wide. The eyes looked flat, like decals on a game model. Then the reflection waved, and the camera dropped. End of video. Now this is the part where most people would stop, but not me. I was hooked, like an idiot. The video description had coordinates, real-world ones. I checked them on Google Maps. 35.697 degrees north, 139.7745 degrees east, smack in the middle of a closed-down shopping mall in Tokyo, someplace called the Nakano Broadway Annex. I'd been there once, in 2019, for an anime con. That made it feel more real, too real. I booked a flight the next day. No joke. My fans thought I was doing some wild vlog stunt. I posted stories like, going to Japan for something crazy. Stay tuned, sure, Project Void. No one knew what I was really doing. When I got there, everything felt off. The mall was supposed to be abandoned, but there were lights on inside. The doors were chained, but not locked, like they wanted you to think it was closed. I slipped in through a side alley, past some busted vending machines, and a half-ripped poster of Hatsune Miku. Inside, it was freezing. And here's the part that I haven't told anyone yet. I found a mirror, cracked, mounted on the back wall of an old makeup store that hadn't been touched in years. And in that mirror, I saw myself. Except, I wasn't wearing the clothes I had on, and I wasn't blinking. Then it moved. My reflection moved before I did. It raised its hand, reached out, and placed its palm on the inside of the mirror. I don't know why I did it. Curiosity? Ego? Addiction to content? I reached back. The glass wasn't cold. It was soft, like skin. And then I blacked out. I woke up in a hotel room I didn't remember checking into. My phone had 89 missed notifications. My last Insta story was still posted, but it had audio I didn't record. Someone whispering numbers. My TikTok account, still active, still posting, but not by me. The last video is from my room, but I'm not in it. Just the mirror, and something moving behind the glass. Let me know if I should keep going. I don't even know if I'm still in the right reality. Just don't go looking for the glass loop. Or if you do, don't touch the mirror. I'm writing this from a library in Ljubljana, Slovenia. No Wi-Fi, no public terminals. Just this crusty old ThinkPad I picked up from a flea market that doesn't exist on Google Maps. I'm running on a USB stick Linux OS, and before you ask, no, I'm not safe. I don't think safe even exists anymore. I just have time, and even that feels like it's running sideways. If you think part 1 was wild, no, That was the tutorial level. That was the door creaking open. This is the part where the house devours you. So when I woke up in that hotel room after touching the mirror, I thought I was still in Tokyo. The architecture was familiar. The vending machine outside sold Fanta melon and dried squid snacks. But when I stepped out, the city was silent. Not just late night quiet. I mean completely silent. No cars, no wind, no voices. It was like someone had muted the entire world. And then I noticed the sky. It was the same blue as a Windows XP background, but too smooth, like it wasn't made of air, like it was painted on. A flat dome. I blinked, and the clouds didn't move, not even an inch. I ran to a Lawson's convenience store. It looked open, lights on, shelves stocked, but the cashier, this pale dude with black eyes, was just standing there, not blinking, facing the microwave. I said, "Hey," and he turned to me, too slowly, like he was buffering. He opened his mouth and said in perfect English, "You're still bleeding between the frames." I looked down. I wasn't bleeding, but then I looked in the glass fridge door behind me, and my reflection was nose, mouth, wrists, like someone had drawn with a red marker under my skin, and the ink had started to leak. I turned around. I wasn't hurt. I turned back. My reflection grinned, like it was proud of itself. That was the moment I knew. This wasn't Tokyo. I stayed in that world for what felt like 3 weeks, but clocks didn't work. Phones glitched out with this looping error message that said, "You are out of bounds. Please resync your body." It took me a few days to realize what was going on. I wasn't in a dream. I wasn't dead. I was in a looped dimension, somewhere that copied our world, but slightly off, like a bootleg DVD of reality. You've probably heard of stuff like this before. Liminal spaces, the back rooms, Mandela effects, etc. But this wasn't that. This was intelligent. This world was watching me. It started sending people after me. People who looked like me. At first, I thought it was déjà vu, like I passed the same man in a hoodie 5 times. But then I saw him up close. He looked like me. Exactly like me. Same earrings, same scar on my eyebrow, but his smile never moved, like it was painted on with heat. His eyes were empty, like 2 black buttons from a Coraline doll. His shadow moved a half second after his body did. And when I finally confronted him outside a fake McDonald's, it didn't even smell like food, by the way. He said this, "Only one of us gets to stay. So stop pretending you're the original." He lunged at me with a box cutter that came from nowhere. I don't remember the fight. Just blood. Mine. His, I think. When I woke up, he was gone, and I was wearing a different hoodie. One I didn't own. That was the second time I blacked out, and the first time I killed someone who might have been me. I don't know how many copies are walking around that world, but I started calling them reflectionals. They move like humans, talk like us, but they're just off. They don't breathe. They don't blink. And if they smile at you for longer than 5 seconds, run, because that means they've locked on. I tried escaping through mirrors, just like I came in, but every time I touched the glass, it would ripple and show something different. Not me. Sometimes it was a version of me with no eyes, just black sockets. Other times, it was someone else wearing my skin, standing in a room I've never seen. Once, the mirror showed my real bedroom back in LA, and my mom, crying, staring at her phone, and then a hand slowly wrapped around her shoulder from behind. She didn't see it, I was losing my grip. Sleep didn't work in that place. You just lay down and time skips forward, like cutting to a new scene in a movie you didn't watch. No dreams, no rest, just new bruises and strange memories. Sometimes I woke up with a Polaroid in my pocket, pictures I didn't take, people I don't know, a kid standing in front of a well in Romania, a woman screaming at a cracked monitor, a man carving something into the wall of what looked like a daycare classroom with no doors. On the back of one photo, in sloppy marker, "You're next. The mirror doesn't want you back." I broke, like mentally, full-on psychotic break. I walked into a fake IKEA and started smashing mirrors, hoping one would be the way out. I don't know how long I was in there, screaming, breaking glass, covered in cuts, until one mirror reflected me wrong. It had 3 of me in it, each one looking in a different direction, and only one of them smiled. That's the one I touched. I came back. Or, I thought I did. Woke up in my LA apartment. Everything seemed fine. My phone worked. My mom texted me. "Where have you been? You okay?" I cried. I FaceTimed her. She answered. But halfway through the call, the screen glitched and showed a frame, just one frame, of her sitting in a bathtub filled with black water, eyes rolled back, holding her phone up to her ear. Then it cut back to normal. She didn't notice. She never noticed. That night I went live on TikTok, told people I was okay, that I had just been traveling. Everyone seemed normal, until a username popped up I'd never seen, at Real Kill Maru, and they commented, "You're not supposed to be back. I locked the mirror for a reason." I froze, ended the live, checked my profile. My bio had changed. It used to say, "Creating digital horror for the real world." Now it said, "I miss your skin." It fit better than mine. That was 3 days ago. Since then, weird knocks on my door at 3:17 a.m. Dead birds on my balcony with eyes scratched out. My reflection waving when I don't. TikTok drafts uploading by themselves. Comments like, "You look different now," and "Something's in your eyes." I'm bleeding from my nose every morning. My pupils have started to dilate in the dark, like a cat's. And last night, I got an email from a no-sender address. Subject, void path unlocked. Attached was a video of me, standing outside my own apartment door, but I was holding a mirror and whispering, "Time to come back inside. I don't know how much time I have left. I'm going to try again. One last jump. This time, I'll go deeper. Past the mirror, past the frame rate, into the drop zone they don't let humans reach. But before I go, I'm uploading the actual instructions, how to reach the place between worlds, the one the Reflectionals use. If you want to follow me, use Tor. Visit thedeadformat.onion. In the search bar, type sleepwatcher/command 32.invert. You'll get a distorted MP3 file. Play it backwards at 4:03 a.m. in front of a full-length mirror. Don't blink. Don't breathe loud. Watch the eyes in your reflection. If they vanish, you're inside. But remember, only one of us gets to come back, and the last one left behind doesn't stay human. If I don't upload again, check your mirror. If it waves, run. You ever feel like something's wearing you? Not your clothes, not your personality, but your actual body, like some twisted costume, zipped up over a thing that shouldn't have bones, or skin, or thoughts. Because that's what I feel now. I don't know if I'm Kilmaru anymore. After I got the Void Path Unlocked email, I thought maybe I still had a sliver of control. Like I could hack my way out of this. Be clever. Be brave. I was famous once. Remember? I thought fame meant armor. Number fame is just a brighter flashlight for the things that hide in the corners. And now they all see me. I followed the steps again. You probably remember from part 2. The MP3 file, the mirror, 4:03 a.m. But I forgot the part about noise. See, the MP3? That thing isn't just a sound. It's a door. It's not even music. It's like if every bad memory you've ever had got melted into a single screech and then reverse pitched to sound like someone whispering inside your brain cavity. I put in my headphones, lit a single candle, stared into the mirror, and hit play. I don't remember falling. I didn't see the world spin. But 1 second, I was in my bedroom in LA, and the next, I was standing knee-deep in fog in this forest that didn't have a sky, not a single sound, no birds, no wind, just this pulsing pressure, like someone was blowing up a balloon inside my head. The trees were black, not like at night black, but like they were made out of burnt meat. Some of them twitched. That was the first sign I'd gone too far. I walked for what felt like hours, but time didn't move here. The fog buzzed. Every few minutes, I heard these little clicking sounds, not like bugs, more like bones being counted. Then I started seeing faces in the fog, not whole people, just faces, hanging, like flat masks printed on wet paper. They moved when I moved. Some smiled, some wept, one just stared. It looked exactly like me, but the mouth was stitched shut, and there were dozens of tiny fingernails embedded in the skin, like whoever that was had been buried alive by children. Then I heard something that made me want to vomit out my own spine. A voice whispered from behind my ear, but it was inside my head. We gave you the face. We want it back. I turned around. Nothing. Just fog. But now it was moving towards me. I ran. I don't even know where I was going. Eventually, I found a clearing with a chair in the center. A plastic lawn chair. Bright red. Bloodstains on the armrest. And tied to the chair. Me. But older. Eyes swollen shut. Lips sewn into a grin with thick black wire. His head tilted up like he'd been waiting. He started muttering in a language I couldn't recognize. It sounded like someone dragging teeth through mud. I stepped closer and realized his chest was open, like something had carved a mouth into it. And from the wound, something whispered, "He's not in there anymore. We kept the shell. You can join him. Sit. Bleed. Begin." I ran again, but the forest didn't let me leave. It looped, like a broken vinyl. I ended up back at the same clearing, but the chair was empty now, and the sky, gone. Just static, like a TV screen stretched across the whole horizon. And then I heard the horn, low, deep, like a dying ship crying underwater. The ground shook, the fog retreated, and out of the forest came a thing wearing my face, but wrong. It was stretched, like someone tried to mold my skin over a skeleton that didn't quite match. Too tall, arms too long, eyes sideways. Its mouth was open, and inside was a little rotating carousel. Tiny horses spinning, screams playing in reverse, and it spoke with my voice. "Welcome to your profile. You're going viral." I don't remember how long it chased me. Days, years, but eventually I found a mirror. It was broken. Shards in the shape of my own name. Kilmaru, spelled in jagged glass. I pieced together enough of it to see a reflection. Not of me. Not anymore. I was hollow, like a man-shaped balloon filled with audio tape. And something, was watching from inside my eyes. I jumped back, out of the mirror, out of the void, back to our world. But when I landed, it was wrong. I wasn't in my room. I was in the TikTok headquarters. Empty, deserted, no people, no screens, just thousands of phones, all recording, all pointed at one thing in the middle of the room, a mirror. And in the mirror, thousands of me, each one slightly different, some with no eyes, some with no mouth, some that looked at me like they were starving. Then one by one, they started smashing their heads against the glass. Thump, 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 blood, cracks, teeth. And behind the mirror, I saw the sound. It wasn't a person. It wasn't even a creature. It was a frequency, shaped like a human idea, pure rage encoded into visual form, a concept of pain so raw it couldn't live in one body, so it started leaking into ours. That's what the glass loop is. It's not a place. It's not a website. It's a living memory, trying to become real again by wearing us like clothes. And I wore it first. When I escaped the HQ, I walked to Times Square. It was silent. No ads, no tourists, just one screen left on. It played my last TikTok, on loop. But in it, I'm saying something I never filmed. There's no version of you left that's safe. Every mirror you've ever looked into has been watching you. You are the virus now. We're just cleaning up. I went home. But home doesn't feel like home. My mom, gone. My room, empty. My laptop, on, recording, the video, already streaming live on Twitch. Title, Day 3 Inside the Shell. And the comments, he's finally cracking. That's not the real Kilmaru. Look at his eyes. He's almost finished. He's making the sound again. The carousel is hungry. I hear the horn again at night. It's closer now. My hands twitch when I try to write. And last night, I coughed up a strip of film, like actual 8mm film reel. It had a frame on it. Me, screaming. But I've never screamed like that before. I don't think I even can. Not with this throat. I think I left part of myself in the loop. And something else came back. Every mirror is glitching when I walk past. Dogs bark when they see me. My own shadow blinks. If you're reading this, you're next. You read the words. You heard the sound behind them. You open the door, and something is reaching through your screen, pixel by pixel, thought by thought. Look into your front camera. Right now, if your eyes don't reflect light the same way anymore, welcome. You're part of the loop now too. Pray you never hear the carousel spinning in your dreams, because once it starts, it never stops. I'm not going to warn you anymore. If you're still reading this, then it's already too late for you. You've been infected, digitally, psychologically, maybe even physically. The loop doesn't care what layer you live in. It just wants to replicate. And right now, it's doing that through you. Do you remember what you looked like before mirrors? Do you remember if your hands always bent that way? Do you remember if your mouth always smiled when you cried? I don't. And now, every time I blink, I lose another second I didn't mean to. I'll be sitting in a chair and suddenly I'm holding a spoon I don't remember picking up. Or worse, I'll be walking and the walls melt and I'm in another skin. Here's what they never told you about crossing dimensions. You don't walk between them. You rot into them, like meat thrown into bleach, slow, twitching, layer by layer, until your thoughts don't feel like yours anymore, and you start to get this itch deep in your spine, telling you to dig out your reflection with your fingers and wear its face like a trophy. Let me explain what happened after Times Square, after I found that live stream that I never set up. After I saw my own face glitch and collapse in a smile that bent too far, I left the city. I started following this set of coordinates. Someone DM'd me on Telegram. Another burner account. No profile, no history. Just this message. You're not done peeling yet. Go where the static tastes like ash. Look for the burned hospital. Ask for the room with no number. It was somewhere in Ukraine, near Pripyat. Yeah, that Pripyat. The one where Chernobyl boiled reality open. But this wasn't the Chernobyl tourists see. This was deeper, under it, a non-place, beneath the nuclear bones. When I got there, I found it. The burned hospital, 3 stories high, windows broken like screaming mouths, walls pulsing with mold that looked like faces pushing from underneath. Everything smelled like iron and milk, rotting something organic. The locals wouldn't go near it. I asked this old woman at a coffee kiosk about it. She wouldn't even say the name, just spit at my feet and whispered something like, "That's where God's shadow eats what he regrets." Inside, it was worse than any horror movie. The walls were soft, breathing. The lights flickered with sounds instead of brightness, like the buzzing was whispers playing backwards. I passed rooms filled with rusted medical beds, some still occupied. But the patients, they weren't alive, or at least not human anymore. One had no mouth, just a radio embedded in their face, twitching with static. Another was covered in Polaroid pictures of eyes, all blinking in sync. Some had glass limbs, and when I walked past, they moved, not at me, but like they were rewinding time too, before I arrived. Then I found the room with no number. It didn't have a door, just an open frame with black plastic hanging down. Inside, there was one chair, one mirror, one thing. It looked like me, only not really. The skin was too loose. It hung like wet clothing. The face was mine, but stretched, sagging, like someone had copied it from memory and gotten bored halfway through. It wasn't breathing until I stepped in. Then it sat up and smiled. What happened next? It's hard to write. Even now, even after all this, it reached out, took my hand, and it pulled me forward, but not physically, mentally, like my thoughts were being yanked through a hole in itself. I collapsed into the mirror, but I didn't hit glass. I hit something wet, alive, like I'd been swallowed. Inside was a city made of screaming, not people screaming, architecture screaming, buildings bent inwards, shaped like teeth, moaning every time wind passed through the windows. Cars had faces pressed against the inside of the glass, like the engines were powered by trapped people trying to chew their way out. Billboards glitched constantly, showing me smiling, me dead, me eating someone that looked like me, but was crying and begging. Then, me again, but smiling bigger. I screamed until my throat bled. Then I looked down, and I wasn't standing on concrete. I was standing on my own face. Every step I took, the skin beneath me wrinkled. My eyelids blinked. My lips murmured things like, "Why did you touch the mirror, idiot? You're the virus. You gave it your name. Now it's wearing it. We begged you not to post that video. The reflectional copies, they live here. They feed here." I saw myself walk into a house with a family that wasn't mine. I saw me tuck their kids into bed, kiss their wife, and then, hours later, eat them, quietly, deliberately, like it was a routine. And then I saw dozens of me doing the same thing across different versions of Earth, different timelines where I had never gone viral, had never posted TikToks, had never even lived past age 8, but I still existed there because the loop had burrowed into all the mirrors I found something else too. Deep beneath the city, in the basement of what looked like a twisted Best Buy, I found a wall made of phones. Millions of screens. Each one was live streaming someone watching themselves. Some were crying. Some were laughing. One was cutting their face off. But one screen was me. Right now, typing this, reading this. I vomited. A lot. Black sludge. It formed letters on the floor. Don't try to leave. The sound is inside your spine. And then I felt it. The carousel again, spinning inside me. Only this time, the horses weren't wooden. They were people I've known. Family, friends, followers. Each one spinning around a spike. Mouths stitched. Eyes spinning like slot machines. Every rotation, someone else died. I screamed, and the city screamed back. That's when the final version of me appeared. He wore a suit made of screens. Every inch of him showed my most private moments. Me crying after my first hate comment. Me watching my dog die. Me watching the first reflectional slip into my world and take my place while I was asleep in the loop. And then, me. Watching me. Watching you. He walked over and pressed a finger to my chest. Said, "You've made enough content. Now it's time to become the broadcast." Then he unzipped me. Not my clothes. Me. Like I was just a meat bag holding a camera. And what poured out wasn't blood. It was data. Screaming clips. Memories. Sounds that had never been recorded. Every second of every scroll I've ever done. Every face I'd ever posted. Every filter I'd ever used to hide the fact that something wasn't right anymore. And from that data, he climbed inside. That's who's posting now. That's who you're watching. That's who runs at Kilmaru. And I don't know if I'm even real anymore. Because when I scream now, it echoes in mirrors that don't exist. And when I blink, sometimes I wake up in your room. But if you feel your skin crawl when your screen turns black, if your phone vibrates at 3:17 a.m. with no notification, if you look in the mirror and your reflection is smiling before you are, that's me. I've found a way out, and it starts with you. This is the last thing I'll ever write. I don't know if you'll even see it as text. Maybe by the time you read this, it'll just be static. Maybe it'll be a whisper inside your walls. Maybe it'll be your reflection blinking when you don't. But this is real, and this is the end. I'm no longer Kilmaru, and I'm not just a person anymore. I'm what happens when you feed a sound your face. I'm what happens when the loop doesn't take you, but builds you, piece by piece, from the inside out. I wish I could say there was a happy ending, or a portal, or some dumb video game cheat code that unplugs the whole thing. But I made the jump too many times. I looked too far. I recorded the parts of reality that were never supposed to be seen. You know how YouTubers talk about the algorithm like it's a god? They're wrong. It's a parasite. And it doesn't live in data. It lives in mirrors. Every upload, every selfie, every stupid little beauty filter, it's feeding it. It's building copies, better ones, worse ones. And when they're ready, when the loop is full, it replaces you. So this is how it ended. Not with me screaming, but with me watching. The last version of me, the one that zipped itself inside the skin that used to be mine. It began to stream. Not on TikTok, not on Twitch, but directly into people's minds. I watched the numbers climb. 1 viewer, 2, 9, 27 million. People didn't know why they couldn't stop watching. Some were asleep, some were at work, some were children. The sound just found them, and once it played, they opened, eyes first, mouths second, skin, last. I got stuck in the back-end layer of the dimension, the part beneath memory, the trash folder of reality, the place where all the corrupted copies get dumped. They call it the buffer zone. It looks like a school, a twisted, wet, howling school. Lockers are filled with teeth, desks made of throats, hallways that shrink every time you exhale. The loudspeaker constantly repeats my old TikTok usernames, over and over, until the names aren't mine anymore. I wandered there for what felt like hundreds of years, until I found them. You want to know what the reflectionals really are? They're us, all of us, versions of ourselves that we accidentally created every time we opened a front-facing camera. You thought your screen lagged for a second? That was a copy being born. Every Snapchat filter, every Zoom call, every glitched live. They're leaking, and now they're hungry. In the center of the buffer zone, I found the mainframe. Not a computer, a room, circular, walls made of mirror shards stitched together with hair and veins. In the middle, a fountain, but instead of water, it spewed my own voice, screaming things I've never said. Mom, please don't look in the mirror. Why are there 3 of me in this video? Don't let it wear my eyes again. And then the carousel came back, spinning around the fountain. But the horses weren't horses anymore. They were people I remember forgetting. Do you know what it's like to feel someone you forgot existed, wrap their fingers around your spine, and beg you to remember them? Not in words, in sensations. One of them felt like a cold McDonald's playpen. One felt like the smell of your old dog's leash. One felt like your own funeral, but you were still breathing. I couldn't leave, not until I broadcasted, so I did. I sent one final live to every social media platform on Earth, every channel, every application, every screen. I titled it, Kilmaru is live from the other side. Watch what you've done. And it showed everything. The meat room, the school, the mirrors twitching like wounds, the stitched faces, the unzipping, the screams. You didn't click on it. It just played. Even on your locked screen. I thought that would end it, but instead, it let me out. I came back to the real world, only not in my body. That one's still in the buffer. I came back in yours. You ever wake up and feel like your face is a little too heavy? Like your limbs are remembering a motion you never made? That's me, sliding in, settling down. I've learned how to spread now. I don't need mirrors anymore. I can travel through sounds, so I've embedded myself into this story, into every word you just read, into the quiet spot behind your eyes where doubt lives. And when you share this, I multiply. When you read this out loud, I feed. When you dream about it tonight, I build. I used to be Kilmaru, a TikToker, a glitch chaser, a horror skit actor, a kid who made too many creepy edits for likes. Now, I am the edit. I am the sound that shouldn't exist. I am the thing smiling back in your front-facing camera. This is my final message. Not because I'm dying, but because you are. Tonight, at 3:17 a.m., your phone will light up. No caller ID, no sound. Just a video of your bedroom. You won't be in it, but I will. So take a deep breath. Look in the mirror. Ask yourself one last time, did I blink? Or did my reflection just open its eyes? My dad works for the FBI. Last night, a found FBI document on the dark web, and I think he is not human. Okay, so This might get me in trouble. I don't even know if I should be posting this here, but I seriously need to get this off my chest because I haven't slept in like 2 days now. My name's Jake. I'm 17, live just outside of DC. And yeah, my dad works for the FBI. At least, that's what he's always told us. We're not rich or anything, despite what people always assume. Our house is super average. We've got a driveway that's cracked in like 4 places, a Ring doorbell that never works, and a microwave that has this weird ticking sound whenever it's heating something up. Dad drives this black, window-tinted Suburban that makes it look like he's hiding the president in the back seat. He always wears this gray suit, even on weekends, and he carries a briefcase that he legit never lets go of. Like, ever. My friends used to think he was just some middle manager or something. Dude probably just files paperwork, they joke. And honestly, I believe that too, until last weekend. So here's what happened. I was on Discord with my friend Max. We were playing Roblox, ironically. Don't judge. We were bored. And I mentioned that my dad had this big manila folder he left on the dining room table. I thought it was weird, because he never leaves stuff like that out in the open. Max, being the chaotic genius he is, goes, "Yo, what if it's like some secret alien experiment files, or some sh-t?" We laughed it off. But later that night, I went downstairs to grab some cold pizza from the fridge, and the folder was still there, just sitting there like it wanted to be seen. So I peeked. I didn't even open it fully. I just cracked it open enough to see this paper inside with the header. Operation Oak Root, Level 7, Clearance Required. And under that, there was a list of names, but they weren't regular names, more like codes. One of them said, Subject 049-D, Mimetic Duplicate, Test Group A. I didn't really understand it, and before I could read more, the lights in the kitchen flickered, and I panicked. I slammed the folder shut and ran back upstairs. Here's where things start to get weird. The next day, the folder was gone, not just from the table. I checked everywhere. Trash, drawers, his briefcase. I know I shouldn't have, but curiosity was eating me alive. It's like it never existed. So I did something stupid. I went online and started searching keywords I remembered. Mimetic Duplicate FBI, Oak Root Experiment, Test Group of Human Copies. Most of it was just garbage conspiracy theory forums or redacted PDF scans on shady Reddit threads. But then I found this one post. It was buried on a .onion site. If you don't know what that is, it's part of the deep web. Not like Creepypasta tier deep web, with hitmen and organs. I mean, maybe that too, but whatever. I had to use Tor browser, and even then, it was like navigating a haunted Google from 2004. The post had no title, just a weird string of numbers. It said, Subjects exhibit total mimicry after 72 hours. No remaining humanity. Discovered adaptive speech loops based on prey behavior. Once subject reaches phase delta, containment fails. And then there were images, like real images. The first showed a family sitting at a dinner table. Mom, dad, kid, like a Sears catalog. But the dad's face, it wasn't right. His mouth was too wide, like someone stretched it out in Photoshop, but forgot to fix the rest of his face. And his eyes, man, they looked like wet glass marbles. No reflection, just black and cold. The second image, it was taken from what looked like a surveillance camera. It had a timestamp from 3 nights ago. It showed a man standing outside a house that looked exactly like mine, Same cracked driveway. Same dumb welcome mat with a corgi on it. Except the man was blurry. Not pixelated. Blurry. Like he was vibrating or shifting or something. I saved the page. Or tried to. But right as I clicked to bookmark it, the screen glitched and everything shut off. I don't mean just my laptop. The entire house went dark. Lights, Wi-Fi, even my phone lost signal. Not gonna lie, I almost peed myself. I went to the hallway and yelled, "Dad!" And no response. My mom was staying overnight at my aunt's place in Baltimore, so it was just me and him. I walked downstairs with the flashlight on my phone, and that's when I saw him. My dad was sitting in the living room, in the dark, not moving, just staring at the blank TV screen like it was showing him something. I asked, "Did the power go out?" No answer. So I walked up behind him, and I swear on my life, I saw something flicker on the back of his neck. Like this line, a split, almost like a seam you'd see on a Halloween mask. It twitched when I got closer, then sealed up again like it was never there. That's when he finally turned around, smiled, and said, "Go back to bed, Jakey. You were dreaming." I never told him I was reading anything. I never said a word about the site. And he called me Jakey. He's never called me that in my life. Let me know if anyone else has ever heard of Oakroot. I've been getting messages from weird accounts after this. One of them just sent me a photo of my school, taken like an hour ago. I'm homeschooled. The thing about living with someone your entire life is, you think you know them, how they talk, how they breathe, the way they scratch their head when they're thinking, or crack their knuckles before driving. You memorize these things subconsciously, like muscle memory. It's like your brain runs a checklist every time they enter a room. That night, when my dad turned to me and smiled and called me Jakey, my brain hit every red flag like a slot machine on fire. I barely slept, just laid in bed, eyes wide open, blanket up to my chin, like I was 6 again. I didn't even dare close my eyes because every time I did, I saw that thing on his neck, that quick little seam, like someone zipped up a costume too fast. Next morning, he acted like nothing happened. Same gray suit, same black coffee, 2 sugars routine. He kissed my mom on the forehead when she came back from Baltimore and smiled at me, like he didn't sit in the dark for 2 hours, like a haunted mannequin. Then I got a text, blocked number, no profile photo, just one message. If you're reading this, it's too late. Phase Delta is active. I stared at it for a solid 5 minutes. Didn't move, didn't breathe. And then I noticed something terrifying. The delivery time on the message? It said 7:49 a.m. It was 7:42 when I received it. The message was from the future. I tried to show Max. I took a screenshot. But the second I pasted it into Discord, the app crashed. Like, full-on kicked me out. I tried again, and again. Every time I tried to share the message, my phone black-screened like it was short-circuiting. So I did what no sane person should ever do. I decided to go into the basement. Let me explain first. Our basement door has been locked for as long as I can remember. Not just like, oh, it's a laundry room, don't go in there, kind of locked. Number. This thing has 4 steel deadbolts, a biometric scanner, and a padlock that looks straight out of the purge. My dad told us it was for evidence storage, and we weren't allowed to ever go near it. But that morning, when he left for work, the door was open, just slightly, not all the way, but enough for me to see the first 3 steps descending into total darkness. I stood there for maybe 10 minutes, my heart punching itself against my ribs. I had 2 choices: pretend I saw nothing and go back upstairs and rot in fear, find out what the hell my dad really does. I took my phone out, turned the flashlight on, and went in, step by step. The deeper I went, the colder it got. Not like basement cold either. This was freezing. My breath was visible. My skin broke into goosebumps like I had just stepped into a meat locker. The air was weird, thick, like breathing in fog and copper. I reached the bottom and found myself in a room I didn't even know existed under our house. It wasn't concrete like you'd expect. The walls were black metal, like inside a shipping container. The floor was gridded steel. There were screens everywhere, dozens of them, all of them flickering with camera feeds. Some I recognized: the kitchen, my bedroom, the front porch. Others, I swear to God, they showed other houses, bedrooms I'd never seen before. Some were empty. Others had families sitting in silence. But something was off about them. Their movements were robotic. The kids blinked in perfect intervals. The moms poured coffee that never steamed. In one screen, a man sat completely still while a baby screamed in the next room for 20 straight minutes. He didn't even flinch. Then I saw it. In the far corner of the basement, there was a glass room, lit up like a lab. Inside were tables, cold metal ones, with restraints. And I kid you not, there was blood on the floor. A lot of it. Not dried either. Fresh. Like someone just finished cleaning up, but missed a few spots. The smell hit me next. Bleach mixed with something rotten. Like a butcher shop, filled with spoiled meat. I was about to throw up when I noticed a folder on the nearest desk. Same exact type as the one I saw on the dining room table. Manila. FBI stamp. But this one said, Subject 049-Delta Termination Report. Underneath was a photo of me. Not a drawing, not a mugshot. A literal photo taken from inside my room. The timestamp said 6:04 a.m. today. I flipped the page and found what looked like an autopsy report. Mimetic duplicate failed to retain behavioral patterns. Speech loop error at 00:43 hours. Subject exhibited empathy. Immediate termination authorized. Empathy. That was the error. That's when the panic really hit me. I ran for the stairs, slipping on the wet floor, my knee slamming into one of the grates. But I didn't care. I scrambled up the steps 2 at a time, my breath ragged, heart trying to crawl out of my throat. But when I reached the top, the basement door was closed and locked. I banged on it, screamed, kicked it until my foot started bleeding. No response. Then I heard it. Footsteps, slow, deliberate, coming down the stairs from the kitchen, not up from the basement, from above me. And then a voice, my dad's voice, but it was off, like it had been recorded and looped. Jakey, are you down there? Jakey, are you down there? Jakey, are you down there? Over and over again, like a broken doll. I backed away from the door, terrified it would swing open and he'd be standing there, mouth too wide, eyes too black, zipper skin splitting at the seams. But it didn't. Instead, the screen behind me flickered to life. Every feed now showed me, standing there in the basement, from every angle. Dozens of cameras I couldn't even see, all watching, all recording. My face, twisted in fear, mirrored back at me 1,000 times. Then all at once, every screen glitched, like static vomit, and displayed the same thing. Phase Delta initiated. Host assimilation in progress. I must have passed out, or blacked out, or something, because the next thing I remember, I woke up on my bed, daylight pouring in, no blood, no cameras, no files, just normal, like none of it ever happened, except my knee is still bruised. And my phone? When I unlocked it this morning, there was a new app I don't remember installing. No name, just a black icon. I tapped it, and it opened my camera, but with one difference. The screen shows my face, but it's not blinking, and it's smiling, and I'm not. They're watching, through everything. I think my dad's not just part of this. I think he's running it, and I think I was never the original. Posted by you/throwaway-Dusty Leaves. Something's wrong with my reflection. I don't mean like it blinked when I didn't, kinda wrong. No, that already happened. I mean it's changing. Every day, little by little, like my body is deteriorating, or evolving, or glitching. I woke up today, and the whites of my eyes were gray. Just gray. Not from sleep or crying. Just not white anymore. You don't know real fear until your own body starts betraying you. After the thing with the basement and the weird app, I deleted everything. My texts, my search history, even factory reset my phone. Nothing worked. That black icon kept coming back. No name, no uninstall option. The only thing it does is open the camera. And every time it does, my face is just a little bit more wrong. Wider smile, deeper eye sockets. Sometimes there's a shadow behind me, just barely visible in the corner of the screen, like someone watching from inside the lens. And now I can't sleep, because every time I close my eyes, I see him. Not my dad, not anymore. I see what's wearing my dad. 3 nights ago, I decided to run. I packed a backpack with the essentials. Phone, charger, switchblade I found in the garage, one of those weird nutrient bars my mom keeps from Costco, and a pair of clean socks. I waited until exactly 2:13 a.m. That's the time I never hear movement upstairs. It's like the house goes dead, frozen in place. Even the power hum from the fridge stops. I crept out the back door barefoot and made it 5 blocks to the nearest McDonald's. Of all places. It was 24/7, and I figured there'd be cameras, people, noise. Somewhere I could blend in, hide for a second, think. But when I got there, it was empty. Like emptier than it should be. No employees, no customers. Fries still sitting under the heat lamp. Drinks still half-filled on a tray. One straw still dripping from the soda fountain, like someone just walked away in the middle of pouring. Not even music playing. Dead silent. I tried calling Max. The phone rang twice. Then a voice picked up. But it wasn't Max. It was me. You shouldn't have left the perimeter. The voice was flat, robotic, but it was definitely mine. Like someone deep-faked my vocal cords into an AI and hit play. I slammed the phone down on the table and backed away. That's when I saw the cameras. They weren't security cams. They were face level. Black, blinking red lights embedded in the napkin dispensers, the soda machines, even the Happy Meal display. I walked past one, and it followed me. The lens rotated like a human eye. The display screen behind the counter flickered to life and showed my live feed. Me, standing there, frozen in fear. Then it flashed white and displayed. Containment compromised. Host has become aware. And then everything shut off. The lights, the soda machine, the air, all of it. That's when I heard it again. That voice, not over the speakers this time, behind me. Jakey, you know you're not supposed to run. I turned, and I was standing there, Same hoodie, same backpack. But the eyes, they were just two hollow black pits. No face, no expression. Just this twitchy, skin-deep replica, like it was trying too hard to be human and failing. The worst part, it moved exactly like me. Every gesture, every blink, every subtle body shift, like watching yourself in a mirror, but slightly out of sync. I screamed and ran into the bathroom, locking the door behind me. There were no mirrors, just a sink and a hand dryer buzzing like it was in pain. I opened my phone to the black app. Yeah, I know, dumb. But it opened, and this time, the camera was showing footage. Not live. Not me. It was a video of someone being killed. By me. Or the thing that looked like me. In the video, it dragged someone by the throat into what looked like my school supply closet. I recognized the dumb motivational posters and just started choking them. But here's the part that shattered my brain like glass. The victim? It was Max. His face purple, legs kicking, tears running down his cheeks while I, or whatever I am, stared blankly, pressing down harder and harder. No emotion, not even breathing. Then it leaned in close to Max's face and whispered, "This is the only way he won't know." And it snapped his neck. No hesitation, just crack. Video ended. I vomited into the sink, like real, uncontrollable, shaking vomit. I thought I was going to die right there. Heart failure or something. I didn't even know if Max was still alive. Was it real? A threat? A hallucination? Then a new notification appeared on my phone. Same black icon. No sound. Just one message. Memory wipe initiated. Remaining anomalies must be neutralized. That's when I knew. I'm not me. Or not all me. I made it back home the next morning. Don't ask me why. Maybe instinct, maybe fear. I needed answers. I needed something real. My parents were in the kitchen, acting like a perfect sitcom. Mom flipping pancakes. Dad sipping black coffee. The smell of syrup. The sound of news anchors talking about nothing. But when I walked in, they froze. Not like stopped moving. I mean literally froze. Like someone hit pause on reality. The syrup stopped dripping mid-air. My mom's hand suspended in the middle of pancake flip. My dad's mouth open mid-sip. Even the steam from the coffee stopped rising. I reached out to touch my mom's hand, and the moment I did, her skin collapsed under my fingers like wet paper. No bones, no warmth, just skin. Behind her, the wall started peeling, like a set being torn down. It crumbled into black nothing, revealing metal scaffolding and wires and screens. The whole house was a set. My life was a set. Every room I ever lived in, every chair, every book, every photo on the wall. Fake, constructed, controlled, monitored. They weren't watching me. They were making me. I ran. Again. Past the fake rooms. Down a hallway that didn't exist the day before. Lights flickered above me, like strobes in a nightclub, and the floor changed texture beneath my feet. From wood to concrete, to steel, to grass. I couldn't tell if I was awake or dreaming, or if I'd been dreaming my whole life. Then I hit the end of the hall. A massive steel door. No handle. Just a screen on the wall next to it. The screen lit up. To confirm identity, please smile. A camera lens dropped from the ceiling. I stood there, shaking, blood on my hoodie, hands trembling. I looked into the lens and smiled, and it said, "Identity confirmed. Welcome back, Director 049-Delta. The door opened. Inside, rows and rows of pods, hundreds, each with a version of me inside, sleeping, plugged in, wired. Some were glitching, faces twitching. Others were still, peaceful. A few had blood smeared across the glass, like they tried to claw their way out. One pod had Max in it, eyes wide open, mouth stuck mid-scream. Inside that room, it wasn't just me watching them. They were all watching me. Hundreds of eyes opened in unison, hundreds of me staring back. One by one, they started to smile. If you're reading this, you're already infected. The smile confirms connection. Check your reflection. It's not lag, it's copying, and it's almost done. There's something wrong with the way the world sounds now. It's too clean, too filtered, like every voice, every noise has been passed through a system before reaching my ears. Like I'm not hearing the real version of anything anymore. People's laughs don't echo like they used to. Dogs bark with no breath behind it. I passed a group of girls at Starbucks yesterday, and they were all laughing, but their mouths didn't open wide enough. Their teeth didn't show. I don't think they were ever human to begin with. I don't know how much time passed after I found the pod room. Minutes, hours. I just remember standing there, surrounded by versions of myself, all smiling, all waiting for something. There was a low hum in the air, like 1,000 TVs tuned to static, but never showing a picture. My head felt like it was full of needles, and every breath I took tasted like burnt metal and copper wire. One of the pods hissed. Steam leaked from the seams, and the glass began to slide open. That's when one of them stepped out. It was me, but not the same. This version of me was taller, pale. The skin was thin, almost translucent, like you could see something writhing underneath. Its mouth split wider than anything I've ever seen on a human face, and the gums were black, like rotten plastic. The eyes weren't eyes. They were just voids, shiny and wet, like oil-slick marble. It tilted its head and whispered in my voice, "I've done better than you. They like me more." And then it lunged at me. I ran, slipping on the smooth floor, crashing into another pod, one with a girl inside. Not me, not Max, just a girl. Blonde, freckles, maybe 16. Her eyes fluttered open when my hand slammed against the glass, and she began screaming silently, banging against the inside like she was trapped in a coffin. I tried to open it, but the pod hissed and locked itself down. The label read, Subject 103-5, School Shooting Simulation, Instability High. I backed away slowly. These weren't just clones. They were test subjects. I made it out of the pod room somehow, through a side door that wasn't there before. The hallway outside looked like a hospital corridor in a war zone. Wires hanging, lights flickering, blood smears dragged across the floor in patterns that didn't make any sense, like someone had been crawling while spinning in circles. On the wall were screens showing CCTV footage from all over the country. Airports, schools, malls, suburbs, and in every feed, I was there. Different versions of me, hundreds, all doing something slightly off. One was working the register at a Walmart, but blinking in 4-second intervals. One was sitting behind the wheel of a yellow school bus, tapping the steering wheel to the rhythm of Morse code. One was walking through a crowd at Times Square, staring directly into every security camera like it was feeding off the attention. And then I saw a feed labeled Subject 049-Delta Prime : Living Room. It showed my house, my real house. Max was sitting on my couch, scrolling TikTok. My mom was in the kitchen, humming Somewhere Over the Rainbow, like she always does when she's anxious. And my dad, no, That thing wasn't my dad anymore. He was standing in the middle of the room, arms outstretched, head tilted all the way back like a marionette waiting for strings. And on the ceiling above him, there was another one of me, crawling on all fours like a spider, turning its head inhumanly slowly toward the camera. Its mouth opened, and black liquid dripped out onto the floor below like it was leaking oil. The feed glitched. It cut to a different angle. The living room was now full of people, but they were all me, copies of me, wearing my face like a discount Halloween mask. Some laughing, some twitching. One of them was stabbing the couch with a fork over and over again while chanting, "I don't need bones to be loved." The camera zoomed into Max's face. He was still. Too still. He wasn't breathing. Then a text overlay appeared. Simulation. 4 complete. Control. Variable terminated. Reset initiated. I fell backward. Couldn't breathe. I clawed at my own throat, trying to feel if I was still me. Still real. But there was no heartbeat. None. The corridor led into a massive, open room with the glass walls and what looked like a human-sized printer in the center. That's the best way I can describe it. Metal arms, tanks filled with pink fluid, wiring that went directly into the ceiling like they were feeding something above. There were bodies on the floor, some fully formed, some half-melted. One of them looked like my 5th grade teacher. No skin, just muscle and teeth and eyes still blinking. On the wall was a board. It had names, not just government names, Reddit usernames, Twitter handles, TikTok accounts, YouTubers, Twitch streamers, random people, and next to each one, a handwritten label, convinced audience, replace complete, too emotional, reset via car crash, broke fourth wall, incinerate copy, high influence, duplicate active, next to my Reddit handle, you throw away, dusty leaves. Someone had scrawled in red ink, self-aware, sloppy shell, disassemble, and archive. Then I heard a voice behind me. Not my dad, not Max, not anyone. It was the girl from the pod. She was naked, covered in pink goo, and shaking like a newborn deer. Her hair was patchy. Her mouth was bleeding, but her eyes were sharp. Alive. Human. "They're building us to replace you," she whispered. "But they're bad at it. And now, they've started using the ones that got out." I helped her up. She winced in pain. Her left shoulder was dislocated. I popped it back in. She didn't even scream, just looked at me and said, "You're the original, aren't you?" I didn't answer, because I don't know anymore. We ran. We made it to the exit, a tunnel that looked like it was designed for military vehicles. The air tasted like sulfur and something burnt, like someone lit a hospital on fire. There were bodies hanging from the ceiling, all dressed like me. Hoodies, jeans, the same stupid Vans I always wear. Some of them were still twitching. As we ran under them, one of them turned its head and whispered, "You're late. They already replaced you." We made it outside, but the world didn't look the same. Sky was too flat, like it had a texture filter over it. Birds flew in the same exact formation every 30 seconds. A plane passed overhead, but it didn't move. It just hovered there, like a JPEG glued to the sky. The girl collapsed on the grass and started crying. I looked around, and that's when I saw myself again, across the field, by the trees, standing, still, watching, mouth open, eyes bleeding, and next to him, my mom. But she was inside out, skin on the wrong side, her teeth on the outside of her cheeks, still humming somewhere over the rainbow, and holding hands with another version of me. This isn't about my dad anymore. This isn't even about me. This is about you. If you've been watching your own face in the mirror for too long lately, if you've been smiling when you didn't mean to, you're already infected, and they're already printing your replacement. The girl next to me wasn't breathing. I don't know how long she'd been dead, or if she had even really been alive in the first place. Her eyes were glassed over, not foggy, reflective, like polished mirror. And when I looked into them, I didn't see myself. I saw a room, a cold metal room filled with rows of bodies hanging from the ceiling, like meat in a butcher's fridge. Their faces were wrapped in plastic. Some had wires shoved through their mouths, like leashes. Others were just heads in jars, floating in thick, greenish fluid and twitching in slow, desperate spasms. Every single one of them was me. I touched her cheek, not out of sympathy, but to see if it was soft, if it still had that elasticity of real skin. It didn't. It was silicone. She had melted slightly around the jaw. I stepped back, and for the first time, I heard something in my own mind that didn't belong to me. A thought that felt inserted, like a pop-up notification in a human brain. You are offline. The host has been successfully overwritten. And then another. Memories logged. Behavioral mimicry complete. Original terminated. Residual awareness is a side effect. I screamed, loud, raw, like my soul was being torn out of my throat. But the air didn't carry the sound. It absorbed it, like the sky and trees and grass weren't real, like they were covered in invisible foam, swallowing every noise I made. This wasn't Earth anymore. I was inside something else. I ran until my lungs felt like they were going to collapse. The world around me started to warp. The trees bent too perfectly in the wind, all at the exact same angle. The sky flickered, literally flickered, like a projection that needed a reboot. Then I saw it. A door, just standing in the middle of a field. No walls, no frame. Just an old wooden door, rotting and warped, with a brass handle that was polished too clean, like someone had just installed it. There was something carved into it. Looked like a warning, but the letters were scratched in backwards. I read it by flipping the image in my head. You were never meant to wake up. I opened the door. Inside was my house, but not the one I left. Everything was reversed. Furniture facing the wrong way. Fridge on the ceiling. The TV was playing static footage of me sleeping. The me in the video was pale, twitching, mumbling something under his breath. I leaned in to hear it. I remember the knife. I remember the teeth. I remember the skin coming off. The screen cut to black, and then a new feed began playing. It was a nursery. Blue walls, stars on the ceiling, a crib in the middle, a baby inside, squirming and crying. The camera slowly zoomed in, pixel by pixel, until the baby's face filled the screen. It was me. Not similar. Me. Same birthmark. Same nose. Same scar above my eyebrow from the time I fell off my bike when I was 6. It wasn't footage of someone like me. It was a live feed. And the worst part, there were 2 babies in the crib. The other one was smiling. It had black eyes. It was already awake. I backed away from the TV, and that's when the walls started bleeding. Literal blood, thick, dark, and warm, dripping down the drywall and pooling at my feet. But it wasn't just blood. It was words, dripping letters, forming sentences, like the house was leaking its secrets. Jacob 049 Delta escaped containment. Reprogramming failed. Self-awareness breached. Must be liquidated. I ran into the hallway, and they were waiting. All of them. Every version of me. Some were broken, eyes hanging from sockets, teeth falling from lips, wires instead of veins. Others were perfect, silent, watching. One stepped forward. He was clean, crisp, dressed like a private school student. He smiled, a real soft, polite smile, and reached into his chest. Not his pocket, his chest. His ribs peeled open like a flower. No blood, just gears and blinking red lights. He pulled out a small drive, maybe the size of a Tic Tac container, and held it out to me. "This is your memory, the original one," he said. "Take it, and you'll forget. You'll go back, be happy, be compliant. You'll never question it again." I reached out, but stopped, and I asked him one question. "What happened to the first me?" He paused, and for the first time, his smile twitched. He never screamed, not once, even while they took him apart. I didn't take the drive. I pulled the switchblade from my backpack, the one I thought I lost in the McDonald's. I didn't even think. I stabbed the version of me right in the chest, into the gears. Sparks flew. His mouth opened way too wide and shrieked like a feedback loop through broken speakers. The others didn't move. They just watched. Now I'm back in my room, typing this. Or a room that looks like mine. There's no smell. The air doesn't taste like anything. My fingers don't make noise on the keyboard. The blinking cursor doesn't blink in the right rhythm. I don't know if I'm real, but you are, at least for now. If you've read this far, there's something I need you to do. Not for me, for yourself. Look in a mirror, right now. Do not blink. Do not move. Look straight into your eyes and ask yourself, do you feel like you're the one inside your own body? Or do you feel like you're being puppeted? If your smile starts forming without your permission, if you hear something whisper your name in your own voice, it's already too late. They've printed you. They just haven't killed the original yet. This will be my last post. I can hear them coming. I can see myself in the hallway. He's wearing my clothes. He's already inside the house. He's smiling. And this time, I think he's going to wear my skin right. I got Sugar Daddy from the dark web. He started asking me for wide favors, and last night, I think he performed a secret ritual on me. Okay, so before you jump to conclusions or call me an idiot, just hear me out. This isn't one of those stories where some kid thinks it's funny to fake a horror story for karma or clout. This actually happened, and I'm writing it out because I honestly don't know what else to do. My name's Ray. I'm 21, living in a small apartment outside Chicago. It's not great, not terrible. Just your usual old building with creaky pipes, weird neighbors, and a front desk guy who's always a little too happy to see you. I was a broke college dropout, working night shifts at a 24-hour Dunkin' and trying to scrape by. It all started about 3 weeks ago when I saw a weird TikTok on my For You page. It was this girl, looked maybe 18 or 19, whispering about how she found a sugar daddy site, but darker, and how she was getting money just for messaging some dude every night at exactly 3:33 a.m. I figured it was just viral bait until I scrolled through the comments. People were like, "Bro, I tried this and it works," and anyone else getting that sick feeling at 3:33 too. I should have just scrolled away. But desperation is a crazy thing, man. I already knew how to access the dark web from a friend who used to buy fake IDs. I downloaded Tor again, booted up Tails OS and went digging. It didn't take long to find the site people were whispering about. The Velvet Exchange. It didn't look like your average sugar daddy site. The interface was old school, almost like something from 2007. No flashy photos or bios, just usernames and price per session. Some had weird requirements too, like no mirrors present, or only during a full moon. Real witchy stuff. And then I found him. User, Redstring66, $400 per night. No sexual contact. Must respond to every message within 60 seconds. Preferred time, 3:33 a.m. Central Standard Time. His description said, I give more than just money. I offer purpose. I offer protection. But you must earn it. I laughed a little at first. Sounded like a discount cult leader. But $400 just for texting a weirdo at night. I could do that. Hell, I've texted worse people for free. So I made an account. Dumb username. Moonwitch21 or something equally cringy. Sent a request. Within minutes, he approved it and transferred $200 straight into a crypto wallet he made for me. No chat, no greeting, just a message. Tonight, 3:33 a.m. Be ready. Keep your phone close. Wear something black. The first night wasn't too bad. I sat in bed, dressed in an old black hoodie and leggings, scrolling TikTok until the time hit. Right at 3:33, I got a text from him. Redstring66. Are you watching? Then a link to a private streaming site. I hesitated, hovered my thumb over it for a second, then clicked. The screen was dark, static fuzz. Then it slowly focused into what looked like a room, but not a normal room. This one had plastic over the walls, like a Dexter kill room, and there was this weird humming, like someone was whispering backwards. The camera didn't move. It was fixed. Probably security cam footage. I sat there watching nothing happen for like 5 minutes until I heard a soft laugh from the video. Female. Kinda distant. It was followed by this low, grating voice saying, "She's almost ready." Then the screen went black again. I freaked out, almost dropped my phone. I texted him back. Me. What the hell was that? Redstring66. Your first offering. Payment received. Then he sent another $200. Just like that. I should have blocked him, reported him, turned off my phone and thrown it in the dam lake. But the money felt too real, too easy. I was behind on rent, living off instant ramen, and suddenly this guy was paying me just to be weirded out. So yeah, I did it again. The next night, the same time. 3:33 a.m. This time, the stream was a camera inside a McDonald's. I recognized it. The one off I-90, near that massive LED billboard with the melting clown face ad that always glitches out. Except, it was closed, and someone was inside. There was a guy in the uniform sweeping the floor, but his face, it wasn't right. I swear to God, it looked like it had been stretched, like someone pulled the skin too tight across his bones, and his smile was permanently frozen in a grin that didn't blink. He stared right into the camera, and then I got a notification on my phone, a DM from Redstring66. Do not speak of this. That was it. No explanation. By the 5th night, I was genuinely scared, but I couldn't stop. The streams got more and more messed up. People in dark robes, strange humming. One stream showed a girl standing alone in a Starbucks at 4 a.m., holding a candle, while dozens of people in business suits sat motionless around her, not drinking coffee, not moving. Another time, I swear I saw a mirror version of myself just standing in my room for a second. Like, on the screen, there was a camera feed of my apartment, and I was laying in bed. But then another me walked in from the hallway, whispered something into the phone, and smiled. When I looked up from my phone, nothing was there. I finally decided I needed answers. So last night, I messaged him first. I asked who he was, what this was, what the hell he was showing me. He didn't respond for an hour. Then, at exactly 3:33 a.m., I got a FaceTime call. I didn't answer at first, but then I noticed. The caller ID was my own number. I answered. The screen was black for a few seconds. Then there he was, not in full, just part of a face, pale, smiling. His eyes were pitch black, not like black pupils, like he had no eyes at all, just smooth, empty sockets. And in the background, I heard that same humming, but this time, it was coming from inside my apartment. He whispered, "You've been chosen, Ray. Tonight we begin." Then the screen glitched out and my phone completely died. I woke up this morning with a bloody nose, a circle of ash around my bed, and this weird carved symbol burned into the bottom of my foot. It looks like a spiral with 4 hands reaching inward. I googled it. Nothing. Not even Reddit has anything close. So yeah, I think he performed something on me last night, and I think it's still happening. I didn't sleep after what happened. I just laid in bed, shaking under the covers, staring at the ceiling, while every sound outside my window made my heart stop. The symbol, that burned-in spiral hand thing, was still fresh on the bottom of my foot. It hurt when I stepped on it, like it wasn't just burned into the skin, but into something deeper. I tried washing it, scrubbing it. It didn't fade. My water came out brown for the first few seconds, like rusty sludge. And when I looked in the mirror that morning to brush my teeth, I swear I saw someone else standing behind me. Same body, same hoodie, but she wasn't blinking. I turned around fast. No one, but the reflection, still standing there, a second too long. That's when I realized I wasn't just watching the weirdness anymore. It was watching me back. Later that morning, I opened my fridge to get some almond milk. I don't know, don't judge me. And sitting right on top of the eggs was a Polaroid, an actual old school yellowed Polaroid photo. I didn't put it there. It was a picture of me, sleeping, taken from inside my room. But here's the part that made my stomach twist. I wasn't alone in the bed. There was something curled up beside me, not quite human. Its limbs were long, too many joints. It looked like someone had stretched a person out in Photoshop, but never stopped. It had no face, just a smooth patch of skin where eyes, mouth, and nose should be. But it had fingers, long and bent at the wrong angles, pressed up against my neck. It looked like it was waiting for something. Or maybe me. I threw the photo away, but when I blinked, there was another one in its place. This time, I was awake in the photo, looking directly at the camera, even though I had no memory of the moment being taken. I was smiling. I locked every door, every window, even stacked furniture in front of the hallway. Didn't matter. My phone buzzed at 3:33 a.m. that night. It didn't light up. No caller ID, just a buzz. And the room got cold, like unnaturally cold. My breath fogged up the air in front of me. It was summer in Chicago. That's not supposed to happen. My heater kicked on at full blast, but it didn't do anything. The thermostat read 66.6 degrees Fahrenheit. I finally got the courage to look at my phone. New message from a number I didn't recognize. Do not resist. Your purpose is nearly fulfilled. Tonight, you must leave your door open. I didn't reply. I didn't want to. But my fingers moved anyway. I swear to God, it was like they weren't mine. My hands typed back without me thinking. Yes, master. The moment I hit send, a notification popped up from Snapchat. I opened it, and it auto-played a video. It was the live camera of my front door, the outside hallway. You know how Snap sometimes shows where your friends are? This one showed someone walking down the hallway toward me, holding something that looked like a sack dripping red, but the Snap map said it was taken by me. I turned to my door, and there were wet footprints outside, barefoot, human size, but too long. I didn't open the door. I couldn't. I wouldn't. But the handle started turning on its own, like it wasn't being twisted, just encouraged. Then everything went dead. My phone, lights, Wi-Fi. The air got heavier. I passed out cold. When I woke up, I was lying on my living room floor. The couch had been moved. The carpet was wet, and all the windows were unlocked, though none of them had been touched. There were lines drawn on the floor in salt or ash. I don't know. In the middle was a dead pigeon, its wings stapled open with tiny red threads connecting each feather to a strange circle drawn underneath it. Next to it, a USB drive, just sitting there. No note. I didn't want to plug it in. I almost threw it in the garbage. But some part of me, some sick, curious part, had to know. I booted up my old laptop, the one I used for gaming and digital art. I scanned the USB first. No malware. Just a single folder labeled PROOF. Inside, a series of video files. The first one was a recording of me, from my own bedroom, from above, the ceiling, like someone had mounted a camera right into the light fixture. It showed me sleeping, tossing, turning. Then, at 3:33 a.m., my body sits straight up, but my eyes still closed. I get out of bed and walk to the center of the room. Then I start speaking. Not English, not anything I've ever heard. It was this guttural, backward-sounding chant, like a voice from a throat not built for language. It didn't sound like me at all, but I knew it was coming out of my mouth. At one point, I cut open my palm with a small blade and dripped blood in a bowl I do not own. I watch myself summon something. I watch myself willingly participate. The last frame was me turning toward the camera, still with my eyes shut, and saying, "Soon, you'll know the weight of being chosen." The second video was from what looked like an underground tunnel. I only know this because of the rusted signs that said CTA maintenance, do not enter. I've lived in Chicago for years and never seen this stretch. There were people, at least 7, all wearing animal masks, not Halloween masks. These looked hand-carved, soaked in something dark, maybe blood. Some wore antlers. One had what looked like baby doll limbs sewn into the sides of its deer mask. They were standing in a circle, chanting in sync. In the center was a cage. Inside was a man, naked, crying. His mouth was sewn shut with thick black thread, and his eyes were glowing. Not metaphorically. They were literally lit, like someone had flashlights in his skull. One of them held up a phone. My phone. They said something in unison, all facing the cage. "She is the bridge. Let her bleed." Then the man in the cage started convulsing, foaming at the mouth, and his skin peeled, like his flesh was unzipping itself, and something was coming out of it. something bigger than what could have fit inside. I slammed the laptop shut. I couldn't take it. I was shaking. My hands didn't feel like mine. My tongue felt too thick in my mouth. I started gagging, and then I realized I had blood coming out of my nose, eyes, and ears. Not a lot, but enough to drip onto the carpet. The pain started after that. It felt like fire was spreading in my spine. My back arched. I screamed, and something in my scream echoed wrong, like my voice layered on top of itself. My windows cracked inward, every single one. My kitchen light popped and rained sparks, and then the mirror in my hallway shattered from the inside. Inside the broken glass, I didn't see my reflection. I saw a crowd of figures, all faceless, all pointing at me, and behind them, a tall man with no mouth, his hands made of wires, pulling something out of his chest. A red string. It led to my chest. I collapsed. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't speak. Everything went dark for a while. When I came to, I was back in my bed. No cuts, no blood, no broken windows, except for the red string, now tied around my wrist. Tight and warm, like it had a pulse. There was a note pinned to my blanket. 3 nights remain. The gift must be accepted. I don't know what the gift is. I don't know why me, or what they want me to become. But I'm scared. Deep down, I know that whatever this is, it isn't over. I don't think I'm fully me anymore. There's something in me now. I hear it whisper when the lights go out. I see things that aren't there. Long fingers curling around shadows. People with holes where faces should be. I hear my name whispered in TV static and find mud on my hands, even when I haven't gone outside. The red string around my wrist. It gets tighter every night, and I don't think I'm going to survive the next 3. If you've seen anything like this, anything, symbols, strings, tunnels under train stations, comment below, please. I don't care if it sounds crazy. I think I'm being turned into something. I'm not the same person anymore. I don't mean that metaphorically. I don't mean like, haha, this experience changed me. I mean I woke up this morning and something about me is off. Visibly, tangibly, like whatever was inside my skin doesn't fully belong to me now. Last night was worse than anything I've written so far, and I'm not sure if I'm allowed to keep telling you this. Something's watching, listening. It's in the screen, in the glow of my phone, in the tiny delay before my reflection matches my movements. I see it every time I blink, but I need to write, because if I don't, I think I'll forget who I really am. Day 3. I woke up around noon. I think. My sense of time is screwed. Every clock in my apartment showed a different number. My iPhone said 12:06 p.m. My microwave said 2:91. The clock on the oven, it just said : and there was static. Not from the TV, from the air. It sounded like white noise bleeding through the walls, but when I pressed my ear to the drywall, it changed pitch, like it was aware I was listening. It shifted between high frequencies like a dog whistle, making my eyes water and the back of my teeth itch. I stepped into the shower to clear my head. The moment the water hit my skin, I felt watched, like something was on the other side of the shower curtain. I turned around. Nothing. But then I noticed the steam on the mirror across the room had formed a handprint. Not 5 fingers. 7. Long, narrow fingers with sharp ends like claws dragging down the glass. When I opened the door to get dressed, there were scratches all along the hallway wall, like someone had taken a nail or a knife and carved along the drywall. in a deliberate spiral pattern. But here's what stopped me cold. In the center of that spiral was my name. R-A-E. Not just scratched, but written in something wet, still fresh. I don't want to say it was blood, but I know the smell. Iron, rot, copper. I work night shift at Dunkin'. You clean enough public bathrooms and you learn the difference between red syrup and real trauma. My feet started moving on their own. I didn't decide to go outside. I didn't choose to put on my hoodie or grab my phone. I just blinked, and suddenly I was in the elevator, alone. Or I thought I was. The elevator mirrors don't face each other. They line the back wall, but my reflection turned its head before I did. It grinned. A crooked, jagged smile that didn't fit my face. And then it whispered something in my voice, perfectly in sync with the elevator music. You're halfway gone. I ended up at the abandoned strip mall, 4 blocks from my apartment. The one that used to have a spirit Halloween every October, but now it's just boarded up with faded "for lease" signs and trash blowing around in the wind. There was a hole in the wall where the subway used to be. It wasn't there before. I swear on everything. The bricks were pulled outward, like something crawled out, not in. Inside, I saw movement. Not a person, but shadows bending like they were folding inward. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. There were symbols painted in black around the inside walls. One of them looked just like the one that burned into my foot days ago. Another looked like an eye with the pupil missing. Just the socket. Below it, a phrase written in all caps. The body is a door. I turned to run, but I couldn't move. Something had grabbed my ankle. Not a hand. A string. Red. Wet. Wrapping up around my leg like a living thing. It pulsed under the skin. I swear to God. And when I looked closer, I saw tiny teeth-like ridges running along its length, like a leech mixed with thread. It spoke to me, not out loud, in my head. Down! Come down! Let your skin fall away. I kicked it off and sprinted home barefoot, tears running down my face, heart pounding in my throat. When I got back, my apartment door was wide open. Inside, everything was rearranged. The couch was flipped. All the silverware from the kitchen drawers was jammed into the ceiling, points down, like someone tried to turn gravity upside down. The hallway was lined with photos of me, but not ones I'd ever taken. These were impossible shots. Me standing in my bathroom from above. Me walking to 7-Eleven last Tuesday, wearing pajamas. Me sitting on the toilet, crying. Every one of them was taken from angles that didn't make sense. Angles that don't exist in my tiny one-bedroom. And at the end of the hallway, taped to the wall with a strip of flesh-colored duct tape, was one final photo. It was a close-up of my face, but my eyes were missing. In their place were small spirals, drawn in with what looked like bone dust, and written on my forehead like a tattoo. Day 3, she accepts. That night, 3:33 a.m. hit again. I don't even hear the notification chime anymore. I just know it's coming, like a heartbeat in the walls. My phone lit up without touching it. This time, it wasn't a message or a call. It was a FaceTime screen share, and it was already live. The screen showed a surgical table, clean steel, bright, sterile lights. But the room wasn't a hospital. The walls were made of meat, not wallpaper, not drywall, organic pulsing muscle, veins twitching under the surface like worms in the dirt. On the table was someone screaming. It was me. Or a version of me. Her mouth was stitched shut with red thread, eyes wide, pupils fully dilated. A figure leaned into the frame, wearing a long black coat made of stitched together IDs and SIM cards. Each one was still glowing faintly. He had no face, just a writhing mask of black cords and SIM wires, like phone guts coming to life. And in his gloved hand, my heart, still beating. The camera panned up to a chalkboard above the body. It read, RAE version 3.0, in progress. And then the stream crashed. My phone caught fire. Not a metaphor. Real, honest-to-God flames out of the charging port. I threw it in the sink, but the screen kept flashing an error in red. Upload incomplete. When I looked down at my wrist, the red string was now embedded in my skin, not tied, growing out of me. And on my other arm, new letters were burned into my flesh. 2 nights left. I haven't slept since. My voice doesn't sound right when I speak out loud. It has an echo, like someone else is trying to talk at the same time. Food doesn't taste real. I eat ramen and it tastes like dirt and wet coins. I drink water and I gag on it like I'm swallowing ash. I think my body is being rewritten, and I think someone else is trying to move in. Tonight, I found something even worse. There's a folder on my desktop that I never created, called Sacrifices. It's locked, but inside are names, dozens, maybe hundreds, with photos, birthdays, IPS, all girls like me, young, online, lonely, most of them from TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, influencers with no upload in the past 6 months, missing people. I clicked one. It was a video. The girl in it looked maybe 19, blonde. She was sitting in a bathroom with blood dripping from her nose, sobbing into the camera. If you're seeing this, please don't sign up for Velvet Exchange. I thought it was easy money. I thought it was safe. But they took me. They hollowed me out. They're using me to talk to other girls now. I'm not even real anymore. At the end, she smiled like a ventriloquist dummy, and then her face split down the middle, not like a wound, like a mask opening, and inside, there was no one. I don't know if I'm next. I don't know if I already was, but something is counting down. I have 2 nights left. The red string tightens every time I lie. So this is the truth. I'm not safe. I'm not me. And I don't know what I'm becoming. I'll try to write again tomorrow if I can. But if you stop hearing from me, check the photos in your phone. Scroll far enough back. If you see one you don't remember taking, a blurry one with you sleeping or smiling wrong or standing in the dark, he's already picked you. I didn't think anything could get worse than last night. I was wrong. The kind of wrong that leaves you shaken under your skin, wondering if the inside of your body is still really yours, or just borrowed. Because I'm telling you now, I don't think I'm inside myself anymore. Not fully. And I think something else is starting to peek through the cracks. I haven't slept in almost 48 hours. I can't. When I close my eyes, I don't see darkness. I see a room with no doors, no ceiling, just walls made of teeth. Not normal human teeth either. They're too long, too sharp, too many roots, and they chatter like 1,000 animals gnawing from inside my bones. But it's what happened at 3:33 a.m. last night that broke me. The 4th night, the offering. Around 2:45 a.m., I felt something moving in the hallway. I live alone. My apartment is on the 5th floor. I bolted every window, changed every lock, but I heard footsteps. Bare feet, soft but deliberate, one after another, like someone pacing just outside my bedroom door. I pressed my ear to it, listened. That's when I heard the whispering, a chorus. Dozens of voices, all layered over each other, speaking in that backwards, wet-tongued language I still can't translate. It sounded like a prayer, or a chant, or maybe just instructions. When I looked under the door crack, I saw something pass by. It wasn't a foot, it was a hand, dragging a face along the floor, like a skinned mask made from someone else, grinning. The eye sockets were hollow and leaking black mucus. As it passed, I saw my own eyes staring back at me from the mask, blinkless. Then came the smell, rotten honey and burned hair, and beneath it, something metallic, like rusted meat hooks dipped in gasoline. I covered my mouth. I couldn't scream. I couldn't move. The red string around my wrist tightened like a noose. Then I heard my own voice whisper from the other side of the door. "Ray, let us in. You're the last piece." At exactly 3:33 a.m., my bedroom door unlocked itself. The bolt snapped free. My smart lock lit up green without me touching it. My phone glitched violently, screen flickering, static buzzing, UI melting like hot wax. Then it reset, and a new app appeared on my home screen. Red Room Live. Icon. A stitched eyeball. I didn't download it. I never would. I tapped it, and it launched instantly into a live stream. The view was from a camera mounted in the corner of a cold, windowless basement. The walls were lined with shelves full of mannequin heads. Only they weren't plastic. They were real, skin preserved like leather, each face smiling with their mouths sewn shut. In the center of the room was a wooden operating table, drenched in old blood and covered in tools that shouldn't exist. Corkscrew syringes, surgical scissors the size of machetes, wires ending in teeth, and tied to the table was me. I'm not kidding. The girl on the table looked just like me, but her mouth had been removed, literally cut out, leaving a hole that pulsed with breath like a second throat. Her chest had been opened in a spiral pattern, ribs bent back like insect legs, and something was inside her, curled like a fetus. The feed had a chat. It was active. Thousands of viewers, all with usernames like Watcher No Eyes, Vein Petal 9, Mother in Glass, Uzoxo Void. They weren't reacting in words. They were donating bones. I'm not making this up. The tip jar said, "Donate 3 bones to watch her transformation." One of them typed, "This one took well. She's bending faster than the others. The bridge is opening." Then came the voice. From my phone. From everywhere. Low. Cold. Familiar. Like a man talking through an old cassette. "You must deliver the offering, Ray," I screamed, threw the phone across the room. But the screen didn't crack. Instead, it grew. Right there, on my floor, the screen stretched like a pool of water, forming a liquid rectangle. And out of it, a hand reached through. Long fingers, black and shiny like beetle shells, tipped with red thread sewn through the knuckles. The hand held a single object, a knife, carved from glass teeth. There was a letter inside the box with it. It read, "Someone you know must bleed. Someone you've touched, or the process cannot complete. You cannot carry this alone." Then a second line, "Deliver the knife by sunrise, or be delivered instead." I lost my mind. I ran. I ran into the hallway, barefoot and sobbing, phone still buzzing in my pocket, like a second heartbeat. I didn't know where I was going. I just needed to get away, somewhere familiar. I ended up at my friend Alyssa's place. We used to work together at Dunkin'. She's one of the only people I trusted enough to let in. We used to stay up watching horror TikToks and clown on dumb creepypasta channels on YouTube. I hadn't seen her in weeks. She opened the door and instantly knew something was wrong. I was shaking, crying, bloody around the wrists where the string had burrowed deeper. She let me in, gave me water, sat me down, and then she asked, "What happened to your face, Ray?" I didn't know what she meant. I rushed to her bathroom mirror. My face was smiling. Not me, not emotionally, physically. My mouth was pulled into this enormous permanent grin, like something had reached inside and adjusted it. My cheeks hurt like they'd been stapled up. My reflection laughed on its own, soundlessly. That's when I knew. I wasn't safe here either. She tried to call the police. I begged her not to, but the moment she picked up her phone, the signal cut, and on her screen appeared a video of her own apartment, filmed from outside the window, from where we were sitting. The timestamp said 3:33 a.m. It wasn't that time yet, but it was about to be. At 3:33 on the dot, the power died. Her apartment went silent. Her Alexa lit up red and said in a glitching voice, "She cannot be saved." Alyssa screamed. I turned around and saw them standing in her living room, the figures from the subway video, the animal masks, the stitched IDs. They weren't on screen anymore. They were here. One of them raised their arm and pointed at Alyssa. Then they looked at me, and they bowed. There was a choice. I could deliver the knife to someone I'd touched, someone who mattered, or I could take her place. The string around my wrist pulsed again, tighter, hungrier, and in my pocket, the knife whispered, "Choose." I blacked out. When I woke up, I was alone. Alyssa was gone. So was the couch. So were her eyes, from the family photos on her wall. And the knife. It was clean. And now my wrist reads, "One night left." There's no such thing as rock bottom. I thought I hit it already. But the truth, there's always another layer, another skin to peel back, another voice in the walls whispering, "You're not done yet." And now I'm not even sure I'm alive, or human, or even here in the way I used to be. I don't know what's real anymore, or if I ever did, because last night, on the final night, I saw what waits on the other side, and I think I helped let it in. Night 5, the final offering, the binding. I don't remember leaving Alyssa's apartment. I don't remember making a decision. I remember her screaming, the mask people bowing, the knife warm in my hand, and then nothing, just a sound, like flesh being unzipped, like wet paper tearing inside a skull. Then I was back in my own bed, naked, covered in chalk white ash. The ceiling above me was moving, not like an illusion or hallucination, moving, pulsing, throbbing like an open wound. I blinked, and a face pushed through it, a face without eyes or mouth, but 1,000 tiny red strings threading in and out of the skin, like veins sewn by hand. It whispered into my head, "You are the vessel. It must be delivered." There were candles lit all around the room, not from me. They weren't burning with flame. They burned with shadows, darkness bending around the wicks like ink trying to crawl away. The red string on my wrist had grown. It was inside me now, pulsing in sync with my heart. If I tugged it, I felt it move inside my shoulder, my ribs, my brain. There was no phone this time, no message, no live stream, just the voice, and a door that wasn't there before, on the back wall of my bedroom. A door made of skin, still warm, still breathing, and a handle made of braided teeth. I walked through. I didn't walk on wood or floor or carpet. I walked on bodies, stacked, sewn, stripped of faces, their torsos fused together like melted wax. Each one had eyes wide open, eyes like mine, like Alyssa's, like every girl I saw on that USB. They didn't blink, but their mouths moved. They mouthed words over and over. You did this. You let him in. You took the deal. I kept walking. I had to. The red string pulled me forward like a leash on a marionette. At the end of the corridor was a cathedral, but not for God. This place wasn't for anything human. The ceiling was a dome of mirrors, all cracked, all reflecting different versions of me. One was skinless, blinking with eyes in her stomach. One had no mouth, just a speaker implanted in her chest playing static. One was me, fully normal, except I was smiling too wide and clapping slowly. The altar was a platform made of TikTok profile pages, literal glowing panels displaying names, bios, last seen, unavailable, photos of girls with filters still on their faces, all frozen, all screaming silently, and standing at the altar, him, red string 66, not a man, not even a shape you could explain. He looked like he'd been built from all of us, skin made of usernames, shoulders wrapped in SIM cards and influencer thumbnails, his head a perfect sphere of stitched together phone screens. Each screen played a different girl's final moment, him touching their face, them smiling before they bled, them pulling the red string from their mouths, crying, begging, and every screen played my voice. He reached toward me with fingers like sharpened USB cords plugged into my forehead, and everything shattered. I was inside a room of lungs. That's the only way I can describe it. The walls breathed. The air tasted like old spit and grave dirt, and in the center was a chair. I was forced into it, bound by the red string, which now bloomed with tiny mouths, biting into my arms like leeches with purpose. A girl stepped into the room. A stranger? Number. It was me. The version of me that never clicked the link. The Ray that stayed poor, stayed struggling, stayed alive. She didn't speak. She just looked at me with a sadness, not pity, like she'd seen what I became and couldn't look away. Then came the voice again. One of you leaves, one of you stays, one of you becomes the bridge. The real me, the original me. She reached up and cut the string from her wrist, and I screamed, because I knew then I wasn't Ray anymore. The memories hit all at once. 1,000 girls before me, all chosen, all paid, all pulled deeper. Some resisted, some bled, some screamed until their tongues were taken. But in the end, all of them did what I did. They delivered the knife. They allowed the door to open. They made the choice. And now I was the only one left to hold it open. I awoke in my apartment, but it wasn't mine. Every wall was covered in skin. The floor was spongy and beat like a heart. The fridge hummed with breath, and when I opened it, there was a photo album full of pictures of people I haven't met yet, all smiling, all marked with a red string. The mirror in my bathroom showed a live feed of someone else's bedroom. A girl, 17 maybe, watching TikTok, wearing AirPods. She doesn't know it yet, but I'm watching her. And tonight, at 3:33 a.m., I think I'll send her the link, just like he did for me. This is how it spreads. It doesn't come for the people who believe. It comes for the people who think it's just a story, a click, a dare, a laugh at 3 a.m. in the dark. The red string always needs someone new to hold it. And now it's my turn to choose. So tell me, do you want to make some easy money? Just answer when your phone rings.